Here's another example of how the hide and reveal tool are powerful in helping students navigate the test in order to make decisions about the questions. So we talked before about hiding the questions so you can just focus on the text and consume that entire thing before you start thinking about the individual questions and fill up your working memory. But another thing that happens here that's really important to consider as well. I'm going to go ahead and put the line reader tool on so you can make a comparison. Now think about readers. Some readers feel like if they can just see the whole text at once, they can get a pretty good picture of what's happening with it. You can also see that scroll bar right there is pretty long, but it's not as long as what we're going to see in a minute. If I put that back here and turn the tool back on again, notice that can also cause frustration if students are trying to move back and forth between finding something in the text and looking at a question. So what I see now is the lines are much shorter, and we see that bar over here means that it looks like the text is longer. It depends a little bit on how the student is feeling. Are they feeling okay that this text is longer, but the lines are shorter? Or do they feel better and less overwhelmed by a shorter piece overall visually, but being able to deal with the length of the line? So part of using the hide and reveal tool is helping the student navigate how they feel about consuming a particular amount of text. The other thing that's really important about consuming the text and reading the lines is a lot of kids have trouble with the return sweep of a line. They get lost and they don't really realize where they are in the beginning of the next line. So sometimes this is what happens. Instead of car-filled streets, the city of Venice in Italy has a system of winding people gather for conversation and see how that doesn't make any sense? So what happens a lot of times, if kids will use the line reader tool, that'll catch them and they can figure out what's going on with that element right there. Some kids, however, do not want to use the line reader tool because they find it embarrassing that their peers would be able to see their screen and then moving in and out of what's happening there. Now, the same thing happens right here is kids would be reading, if they're not using the line reader tool, they may get lost in the line right here, and maybe especially in the middle or toward the end of this point right here, they might get a little lost in where they are on the line. When we have a physical text, we can touch it or we can use a card to kind of keep track of where we are. One of the things that I like to tell my kids to do is they can touch the side of the screen. In other words, put their thumb over here to the left-hand side where the numbers are, and then they can slide their thumb along down that way to keep track of where they are in the text. But again, what we see is a lot of times kids will get lost in the text. So one of the things we can do is to have them highlight 3 lines at a time if they don't want to use the line reader tool, so that they can keep track of the top, middle, and bottom. This way they keep track more of what's happening with the text. The same is true whenever they move over here to a smaller text line length. They can highlight to 3 lines or to the end of a sentence that starts on that 3rd line. And it helps them keep track of what they're reading so they don't get lost. But ultimately, that decision on what they're going to do with that hide and reveal tool depends on what their purposes are as a reader and what their preferences are that help them sustain themselves without getting frustrated and losing their place, or frustrated in trying to navigate the length of the line. Ultimately, we want cognition versus compliance. Compliance sounds like, my teacher says I have to highlight. My teacher says I have to use these tools in this way. Cognition is different whenever students are consciously thinking about how the tools help them monitor their comprehension and help them process the information on the screen. They decide for themselves how the line reader is used. They decide for themselves how they manage the screen. We want the students to be making the decisions that make the best sense for them at the point of their difficulty, or tools that help them navigate and make decisions throughout.